Welcome back to a brand new episode of Beyond the Bank Phillies podcast. I am your host, Pete, along with my co-host, Henry. What is up, my guy?
We have made it to spring training. Finally.
We have made it to spring training. Baseball is happening this week, people. Phillies have their first spring training game on Saturday at 1:05 against Detroit Tigers. I know for some it's not exciting because they're like, okay, we're not going to see like all the players, but like, I don't care.
No matter
I'm
what.
watching. I'll be at work.
Next week, I'll be at the games. So
there you go. That's what I'm saying. So it's
I'm
just
very
like it works out for you. Dude, I'll be watching at work no matter what. I don't care. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But before we get all into that good stuff, first I just want to give a shout out to the obvious. Excuse me. But congratulations to your Birds on winning the Super Bowl, beating the Chiefs.
Yep.
Champs.
You know, belt to ass.
Yeah, man. You guys really dominated that game. But yeah, shout out to the city of Philadelphia and the fans. Happy for you guys. And yeah, it was, you saw the celebration, saw the parade last week. I know you were there.
Yes, I was.
Craziness, man. Craziness.
Yeah. It was nuts. Yeah.
Seeing
people behave was kind of nice, though. And
yeah.
Nobody got, at least near me, nobody got too unruly.
Yeah. So, nothing too crazy.
There are a couple of Kermit the Frogs hanging from various windows, but other than that, everything seemed pretty okay.
That's good. Yeah, listen, cool to see, but I'm hoping the next parade that happens in Philadelphia is with the color red. So that's all I'm saying. Like, I would like to see that. Like, congrats to y'all, but I'm like, all right, it's our turn now. Hopefully, we'll just like it's just like I don't know. I feel like now it's like everybody's been talking about like the Phillies having the pressure now of like being the next team to win it all and stuff like that, and then like there's people in the comments that you see that are like, oh, like nobody cares about them. They're not going to get it done. They're just, the chokers and stuff like that. And it's just like, all right, like I get it. Like, it's you're high off a Super Bowl win. I understand, but it's like, let's just, let's wait and see.
This is my take on it. And like, because I'm 4 for 4. I love all 4 Philly sports teams. Unfortunately, I have a lot of heartbreak, but, the way that I see the Eagles, because some people are Phillies fans, some people are Flyers fans, some people are Sixers fans. Eagles, it's almost always everybody in the city is Eagles fans. Obviously, you have your people who are out of towners and whatever.
Yeah.
But when the Eagles win, I think it takes a little bit of pressure off. Like for me, not for me, because it's like, all right, once the parade happens, you're like, all right, it's still kind of Super Bowl season. Like it still kind of dominates WIP, but they have started talking about the Phillies with spring training coming up, but happening now. But it still dominates the airwaves. It still dominates people's thoughts. Like, so it's almost like if the Phillies are bad for the first couple of months, these people won't care. Now, I, on the other hand, will not be feeling that way.
Yeah,
I'm going to follow every pitch that I can.
Exactly.
So it's like, it almost takes pressure off of them in a way. Like I think it puts pressure on them, quote unquote, from an internal perspective. Like I want what that was. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I don't think that puts pressure on them necessarily from fans. I think once Philly gets that little dose of championship, they're like, I'm good for a little while. But for me, I want them to win a World Series every year, but that's not going to happen. So it's I think it's. If you're not from here, you don't really get it. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I understand completely. And like that's the thing. It's just like growing up, being a Phillies fan and Flyers fan. Then the other sports I kind of follow and stuff like that and whatnot. But I kind of just keep that stuff separate because I'm more of diehard of those sports more than anything. And it's just like I don't know. Listen, it was cool to see, and I have a lot of people close to me that are Eagles fans, stuff like that, and I respect that. And I told them congratulations, especially you. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like at the same time, like all right. I was like, I can't wait to have that moment too. Like when we, if they eventually get it done and, they're on Broad Street as well. It's just like, I can't wait for that moment. But listen, I take it day by day and see what happens. But, going off of that into the conversation with John Middleton, because he was at the Super Bowl and article by Todd Zalecki that was put out about basically saying Middleton was leaving the game and, he was running into other like Philly fans and stuff like that. And everybody was telling him like, it's your turn now. And it's just like, saying that to a guy like John Middleton, knowing how emotional he is about this team and, what he said last year, I want my trophy back and stuff like that. It's just like interesting to see where it's like, can this really be like the moment where it's like, all right, you give them a little push now, seeing the Eagles win, and now it's like, can these guys really just like put it all together and be like, okay, it's our turn now. Like, let's go and do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, they say they have the team, to do it, put together well, and they have the good pitching.
Well, according to their right fielder, who knows? But
Yeah,
go on.
exactly. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just like you read that article and it's just like, man, like if that's the case, like so be it. Like if that's what it takes, but they got to have the motivation to do it and put it all together in October.
Yeah, I just there's something different about baseball because it's such a long grind and it's like I think so. We were talking before we got on about internal pressure.
Yeah.
Do they feel pressure? Like, is this the team? They asked Castellanos a couple times.
Yeah.
And I feel like this season hasn't been as much of we have to get it done. Like, this is the year. We're going to get it done. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Middleton and I love his passion and everything. But going into spring training and saying, get my trophy back, I understand that it sets a standard. I get that.
Yeah.
But, like, it's almost like, well, what are we going to do if we don't win? Like, exactly. I don't know. It's
not the message yet.
Exactly. It's not the message you want to send right off the bat.
Exactly.
And, like, I know it was the, the year before last year, it was if we won 2 more games, we would have won the whole thing. But all these endings, like the World Series year, they needed 2 more games. The Diamondback year, I wish I didn't have to live that. But last year, just going into that series, almost knowing we were going to get our asses kicked.
Yeah. You felt the pressure almost. It's like you're like uneasy about it.
I remember we walked into the ballpark and I was like, man, it's electric in here. But I also remember thinking, like, it's electric, but if we don't win, this place is going to burn to the ground.
Exactly.
And it was one of the worst playoff performances I've ever seen in person.
Outside of Zach Wheeler.
I'm talking as a whole team. Yeah, of course, obviously.
Exactly.
7 innings scoreless, and somehow we lose, 6 to whatever it was.
I watched those highlights again, by the way, the other day.
I did. Sick. You're sick.
I did.
You're sick.
Whatever.
No. What highlights were there? Was it just like a 7-minute Mets tape?
Well, no, I was just watching Zach Wheeler pitch, and I was like, all right.
I was like, dude.
Once it got to the 8th and 9th inning, like, I wanted to vomit, basically.
We had about as many highlights as the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, that is true. Dude, I don't know. Like, I agree with you. Like, Middleton, he's great and all that, but it's just like, let's not come hot out of the cannons, the first week of spring training and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, it's okay to give motivation to the team. That's all right.
Motivation is different than that.
But I just listen, we got to get through spring training first, make sure these guys are healthy, and then get to the regular season and take it, game by game. And we have to go about it the right way. Like, we can't just keep thinking about October. And that brings me into the conversation going back to, you brought up Castellanos' name, because, he had an interview, which he had a couple of interesting quotes, as interesting as Castellanos can be, character-wise. He's very, honest, and he's very straight to the point. Yeah. They did ask him a question about playing, playing in Philly this year, baseball and whatnot. But he said, if we win, it's like a happy surprise. So it's kind of a it's kind of a freeing place to play baseball. He had that quote, and it's like, it kind of stood out to me because it's almost like people were taking it the wrong way and almost feeling it's like, what do you mean freeing baseball? Like, you're going to have all this pressure. You're going to have all these fans questioning, whether you guys can get it done and stuff like that. And it just almost seems like he's almost too relaxed in a way. But, just knowing how Nick is, like, it's just like, I don't take too much away from it. And, I told you before we got on here, he had another quote where he was basically saying, they asked him about oh, are you guys going to win in October this year? And he's like, I don't know. And it was almost like, what do you mean you don't know? And that's the thing, though. We can't think that far ahead to October, and it's like, I don't want to think that far ahead.
That's my entire point. That's my entire point with the Middleton thing, too. Now, do you wish Nick was like, we're going to mow these guys down. We're going to beat them?
No.
Like, then we say the chance. That'd be cool. That'd be cool quote card. But, he's honest. That's just what he is. He doesn't have any representation. He represents himself. He's a renegade. That's what Nick Castellanos is. So when he says stuff like this, I don't put too much stock in. Like, do I think that he thinks they're gonna miss the playoffs? No, I don't think he thinks they're gonna miss the playoffs. But it's a lot easier to be like, hey, let's just play this week and we'll see what happens instead of, well, let's play these entire 6 months and then we'll get to October and then we'll see what happens. No, you don't have to do that. And I think that was their problem. I really do.
Yeah.
And maybe they suggested this on the High Hopes pod, and it was kind of a joke. It was a little bit of a
shout out to them.
Because, yeah. Like, because Fritz, obviously, like most of us, is a bigger Phillies fan than Eagles fan. And he, obviously, it's different because he talks about it for a living. But James Seltzer said, like, all jokes aside, they should go across the street and see what the Eagles did. Because the Eagles had one of the worst collapses, and we are not an Eagles pod by any means.
No, absolutely.
The Eagles had we lost 6 out of 7 at the end of last season, including the playoff.
Yeah.
So we monumentally collapsed. This year came back, did what we did, won the championship, whatever. If you could galvanize these guys the same way that they did over there, that's big.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's no joke. Losing to the Mets like that, like that's
that's gonna stay with you. I mean, as a team, it's just you're gonna think about that.
If it doesn't, there's a problem. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the thing we talked about
it. Figure it out.
Yeah, and we talked about it at the end of last season. Like we felt like at times they got too complacent during the season, and obviously there was other things that played into it. Players got tired and stuff like that. They had a great beginning to the season, and it kind of just you kind of feel it. Halfway through, especially in the second half, like leading into the playoffs. And, obviously, Thompson and Dabrowski both had the press conference at spring training, and they brought that up about like maybe changing things about, how they do the approach, like, during the beginning of the season, because they still want to come out on a good note, but at the same time, carry that energy throughout the whole season and try to get through that second half in a better way than last year going into the playoffs if they get there.
Right. It was like once the London series hit, it just
exactly
flipped.
So listen, like I say, I always have trust in these guys, Thompson and stuff like that. I always will, no matter what. It's just you gotta show me. I can't hear no more of the talking going in this.
Yeah,
like it's like.
Well, I think that's why you're not seeing these marquee quotes this year.
No, absolutely not. You can't. You can't have the quotes like that because it's just gets too much to your head, but like like I said, you got all these fans, commenting and stuff like that, and it's just like, please, like you know what, like let's just wait and see before you start calling, shots or whatever. But yeah, moving off of that type of stuff, we'll go into more of like some of the small reports that have been coming out in the recent days. As they just got the Clearwater. So JT Realmuto, his name has been swirling around a little bit. There's been rumors about him possibly getting reps in left field, apparently to keep him fresh. I don't know how I'm feeling about this possible idea. I know like they'll probably test it out in spring training. We might see it. Who knows? I don't know if it'll be in the regular season, but how do you feel about it? Because I just like, is it worth it? Do we feel like it's reasonable to keep him fresh, as they were saying?
So I'll answer your question with a question. Do you think it's worth extending JT? Do you think it's this no-brainer and it's just how could you even ask this question? We have to have JT back.
I love JT. I do. And he's done a lot for this team, but I don't see it going in his favor.
He's 34.
Going next couple of years at least, I would say. He's 30, and yes, he's 34. So, he's aging a little bit. And he's had a lot of tread on the tires, man. Like it's just like
he catches like the most innings in baseball. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So my point with that question is I'm not going to be mad if they don't get an extension done. I'm not.
No.
And him playing outfield and everything else, like is the juice sorry.
Yeah.
Is the juice worth the squeeze? That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. Like, is it
pushing
him too much?
I just don't see the point in having him in the outfield. I don't. Especially with Stubbs on that 2-way contract the way he is.
Yeah.
I don't see it, man. I don't get what the point is. Schwarber taking grounders at first 3 days a week. What is going on?
Yeah, I saw something about that too. Like we were gonna get into that, but like, he's been getting reps at first base, and obviously, like he's had experience in the outfield, so they could put him in the outfield as well. I'm never usually a big fan of that, as much as I love Schwarbs. But I mean, hey, it worked in 2020.
He's gonna hurt himself.
Well, yeah, he's gonna hurt himself. But
the one game he was there, he pulled his hamstring, and he was out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, and then like a lot of that discussion has to do with like giving Harper time at DH and stuff like that. To give him a little bit of break, but. I don't know. It's just like sometimes when we start getting into these like scenarios, and I keep seeing like I said to you the other day, I sent like one of the posts with like some of the rumors about JT left field or Schwarber at first and stuff like that. And I'm just like, can we relax? Can we just stick with can we stick with what we have for right now, and then we'll see how the players progress. Like I understand JT has a lot of tread on the tires. I know you want to keep him fresh, which is okay. I'm okay with whatever works to keep JT fresh. And keep him for the whole season going into the playoffs, whatever. But because like last year, he missed some time with the knee surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like listen. The problem is if you get to the decision they have to make when he's playing good at this at one point of the season, like do you mess with that? You know what I'm saying? Do you move him around when he's doing good at the spot that he's at in the lineup, or if he's catching good? You know what I'm saying? Like there's that stuff that plays into it, and I trust Thompson to make the decision, of course, but I don't know. Like I said, it's just like you're seeing all this. It's like, dude, like let's chill with like
let's work on the fundamentals. Let's work on not chasing.
Exactly.
Why are we worried about if like?
I mean,
like 10 conspiracies going out. Oh well, maybe they'll do this. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe we'll do this.
Listen,
maybe they won't chase.
I'm not saying I'm an expert here at coaching, but I'm just listen, like.
But holy crap!
There's some other like problems here that we should probably focus on before we start
fundamentals.
Start sending our catcher out to play left field. Which, listen, I don't know if he's had experience before or not. I guess he has, but like, we got to be gentle with that, man, because then defensively that gets tough for us. So, we're already dealing with the platoon of Marsh and Rojas at center field. So,
oh my god,
that's another. That's
Kepler in there too.
Exactly. So, but listen. Speaking of Schwarber, though, and this goes back to the extension talk, with JT. Do we feel like Schwarber deserves an extension? Because I certainly think that he should stay here for a couple
absolutely.
Years.
I think if you made me pick between the two, it's Schwarber, no question about it.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
It's his leadership. It's what he's done for the team. Like the culture changed when they brought Schwarber in.
For sure.
Like, Bryce was here, and it's like, all right, now it's a destination. But the culture itself changed when Schwarber got there. He's a future coach in this league. That's the difference between a guy like him and I guess a guy like JT. I could see JT coaching too, but Schwarber could run his own team.
Yeah, it's weird too because I think back to when we signed Schwarber, and like he was coming from the Boston Red Sox, so my stepdad knew a lot about him, and like I knew about Schwarber, I was aware of him. I just didn't know like if he was gonna fit in the squad, so I was questionable about it. But like ever since then, like he's obviously proved me wrong.
I mean, he hit a home run his first at bat as a Philly.
Exactly, and then like from there, I was just like, okay, like this might work out, and so far it has. And I love Schwarber, so I definitely do think he deserves the extension. I would definitely choose him over JT as much as I love JT, but you gotta look at the future of it. You know what I'm saying?
You also know what you're getting from Schwarber.
Exactly.
I'm not delusional enough to think, oh well, he's going to play in the field however many days. No, you sign him for what you sign him for. It's not, well, we might have to try and work this guy out somewhere to get a potential, a return on our investment. You don't have to, because guess what? He's a DH. You're signed to be a DH. He's going to make DH money, and that's it.
Exactly.
And you're not signing him for 13 years.
No.
It's a 3-4 year contract. It'd be the same for JT. Hopefully max 3 years. But I don't get it.
And I think the tough spot for JT, with the catcher position, like we have some young guys in the farm system, and like it's like we're gonna have to like sooner or later bring these guys up, and they're gonna have to get experience. They're gonna have to get MLB time, and that's the thing. It's just like he might clog up that spot if he stays for the next couple of years. Where
good.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Like the problem with that is okay. So you have Stubbs. He is a career backup.
Mm-hmm.
He found a good spot. I think he's still on the team because Harper likes him, but that's another story. I think that Marchand,
Yeah,
he just cannot stay healthy. If he could stay healthy, this would be a much more serious conversation on Dave Dombrowski's part about an extension. And I wrote my notes from watching the press conference.
mm-hmm.
Like, they still don't want to talk about contracts publicly. That's
Yeah.
never changed. And I still don't think that they ever will, at least for a certain period of time. But it's gonna. I think that if Marchand made was more healthy on a consistent basis, this would be a much different conversation.
Absolutely.
But he's
Yeah.
just not, and that's the fact that you have to face.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with a back problem for the last 4 years, 5 years. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you got Taillon, but he's down in single A, double A, whatever it is.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a couple years before he gets up here, so it's just
Yeah,
I get it in that aspect, but yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. We'll see about this outfield idea. I don't know. I just let's be cautious about it. Real quick, I didn't even put this on a rundown, but you obviously have been seeing there's been talk about the lineup and trying new things with that. I've heard that Trey might be lead off, which
that's the way it should be.
I wouldn't hate the idea, and I figured that's what it was going to be when he first signed him. But we stuck with Schwarber, which was not a bad thing. We win with Schwarber, at the top of the lineup. But
right.
I definitely think it wouldn't be a bad idea for Thompson to go that direction. And you never know where moving Schwarber down in the lineup that can really help the bottom of the lineup.
And it would give Bryce some protection.
Exactly. So
because you'd figure. You put Trey at 1.
Yeah.
Who do you put at 2?
Stop.
Yeah, but then you have 3 lefties back to back to back.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't put JT there. I'm not putting JT at 2. That would be absolutely abysmal. That's the thing. Yeah, you just got to. There's other.
What if you put Bohm there?
Yeah. I just figured keeping Bohm at the at the middle part of that lineup, maybe right after Schwarber would be nice.
I like him in the 5.
Yeah.
I think if you go, you could put Castellanos there, because then that'd make it righty, lefty, righty.
Yeah.
Figure it out, which I think is a stupid thing anyway. That it has to follow this metric of right, left, but it's really starting to piss me off.
Would you hate the idea of Bryce being at 2?
I mean, then it takes away the protection that Schwarber gives him, but I guess.
But possible more at bats maybe for Bryce. So you go Trey. So you go Trey,
marginally,
Bryce.
I guess.
So you go Trey, Bryce, Bohm,
Okay.
Schwarber,
okay,
Castellanos,
yeah,
Stott.
Yeah, then whatever.
JC and then Kepler, whatever. So again, it goes back to the right, left, or whatever. So
that's the thing. It's and I don't know why he does that as scripture. I think it's stupid. I do. I think it's dumb.
I get it. Yeah.
I think that baseball's losing something when you want to do all this metric crap.
Yeah. I shouldn't say I know, but it's just I get it. The whole point of it is just a little weird. It's just I feel like if you have back-to-back righties, it's fine. You have back-to-back lefties, it's fine. Listen, if you're worried about back-to-back lefties against a left-handed pitcher, let's say, that, then we got problems. And that's the thing we ran into last year, where Marsh struggling against lefties and stuff like that, and that type of stuff is just gonna have to get fixed on its own. But and I forgot about Marsh too, putting in the lineup. I mean, depending on who you're starting that day. Between him and Rojas in center field, or if they're in left field, Kepler's out or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, Kepler's great and all, but just another lefty in the lineup. So then you kind of have to maneuver around that. Yeah, but the whole lineup thing is going to be interesting to talk about as we get further into spring training, closer to opening day and stuff like that. Because listen, like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to Turner being at the top of the lineup, but if that's going to mess some things up or they're cautious about it, then we're just going to be seeing Schwarber there again, which is also okay. I'm okay with more leadoff short bombs if that's the case.
Right.
But the rest of the lineup's got to hit. So
well, they all do.
Exactly. What's it called? So I want to bring up real quick about Alec Bohm. Obviously there was a lot of talk about him over the offseason. Just
looks like we're not getting Bregman.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, Bregman signed with the Red Sox. As some people saw, whatever, that whole thing. I mean, listen, it is what it is. I know I was preaching for Bregman in the offseason at the beginning, but I think I was a little on the high horse there of like
no more Bregman.
No more Bregman. No more Bregman talk.
Nolan Arenado?
No. We're done. Done. Bohm's here to stay. Bohm's here to stay. Let's just keep it at that, and we're done. I'm not taking Arenado. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Why not?
Because I'm just not. It's too much. There's too much question marks there.
I think it's too late too.
It's way too late. Like if you're gonna do that type of move, you do it in December or something like that. I'm not doing it now. So, but talking about Bohm though, they interviewed him and asked him some questions stuff regarding the offseason talk and whatnot. And despite all those trade talks during the offseason, he quoted, "I feel like I've experienced a lot in my short time here, but I think it's all for the better. It hardens you a little bit, keeps your head screwed on straight." Do we feel like Bohm takes all of that offseason smoke as motivation in the season? Because I know we talked about it before, but I just feel like, it might help a little bit with, him growing up and kind of having his head on straight, going into the season.
I think that he'll use it as motivation. Yeah. I don't think he is taking it personally.
No. Me neither.
I think this is the first offseason where he's like, business is business. They did what they had to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was a Boris guy until today. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But I think that Boris is like, dude, they're not shopping you. Just do what you can, and I'll do what I can. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Just play. Just play.
Listen, if he does use it as motivation, it's great. I mean, that's okay, whatever, I guess. But it's just we gotta just like move on from it type thing. And I think that's what's gonna happen, and it is what it is now. And I guess he'll feel comfortable. And that's the thing, like all the guys there love him. You know what I'm saying? It's not like anybody has animosity with him. There hasn't been like arguments and stuff like that as what we've heard. But I wouldn't believe any of that type of stuff. So
right.
I'm excited for it.
Like Nick said, I don't know if you listened to him in his Chris Rose interview, but I think you did, Castellanos.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
He just goes right to Davis like, "Hey, man, is this true? Is what true? Show him the trade? Nope. All right, cool.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that relationship with front offices, but I don't think that these guys are going to mislead these players. I don't think that's how Dombrowski does business. I really don't.
No.
And maybe that's delusion in me, but I just don't think that's how he does business.
No, absolutely not. And I know Thompson talked about, he's already talked with Bowman and stuff like that about things and whatnot. So listen, I just think,
Dombrowski said he's seen him a couple times and he's, they've exchanged hellos and whatever, but nothing too crazy. And everybody around the facility said Bohm's just fine.
Yeah, exactly. But, obviously with the fans, everybody's going to be keeping an eye on that and whatnot, after last year. But I think we should be fine now and moving on with that. Like I said, no more trade talks, no Arenado, nothing. Like Bohm is here to stay right now. So that's our hopefully our 5-hole hitter. So we'll see. Moving on. So real quick, the Phillies added 2 more players to camp as non-roster invitees. I just wanted to point this out just because I thought it was interesting for the one name, Christian Arroyo and Oscar Mercado. I know Christian Arroyo has had some experience with Boston. He played okay there, had good stats, good on base guy, but I don't know if he make the roster or not. He might just be there just for, some AAA depth or whatever. So we'll see what happens there. But I just thought it was a very interesting signing just to kind of see. You never know if there's an injury that pops up during the season. We see a guy like him on the team.
Right. I don't know, man. I'm doing some research on a couple guys right now, but yeah, man. I think that you have to keep your options open.
Yeah.
I wrote this down as a note on the press conference. Dombrowski said we have tons of pitching depth. I don't know if he's watching the same team I am.
Yeah.
Because we don't.
Well, bullpen-wise, I feel like.
Bullpen-wise, we don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, bullpen-wise, we don't. I feel like starting
starting. Okay. Yeah, we have 8 starters. What are we going to do with that? Like you have the 5. You have, Wheeler, Nola, Ranger, Luzardo, Sanchez, Taiwan Walker.
Dude.
Andrew Painter if he comes up.
Yeah.
I just we have 7 starters for what?
And the bullpen is what we're going to be more worried about.
Running on fumes.
Yeah.
Like I don't get it.
I'll tell you something right now. I really hope Kerkering has a great year, and I am really hoping that like he takes over that closer spot. I'm rooting for him, man. Like I just like so. It's just like it's get him for to have confidence, and like if he does take over that closer spot and whatnot, competes with Romano. I just feel like it'll be really good for him, but I'm just waiting to see. You know what I'm saying? It's just they put a lot on that bullpen shoulders. It could come crashing down. So, and that's the question that everybody's gonna have. And I was just watching someone on MLB tonight, and they were talking about like the Phillies are gonna be a good team. We feel like they'll be in the playoffs, but the main question is gonna be that bullpen. Like if the bullpen plays well, saying they can go far. So,
exactly.
It's definitely gonna be something to look at throughout the season. I know we talked about it before we started shooting, but Bryson Stott brought up that he was dealing with an elbow injury throughout last year. And he's looking for a bounce back in 2025, which we're really going to need him. And we've talked about it before.
I think I'm very confident in him.
Me too. I'm really confident, and I'm excited to see if he does have a bounce back season, which I think he will. And hopefully that elbow doesn't affect him anymore. So, hearing that wasn't like great news. It's like, oh, that's just awesome. Like, didn't want to hear that.
It kind of explained things, though.
It did.
It's not an excuse; it's an explanation.
No,
I think yeah.
Well, you saw last year he was just like pulling the ball a lot in like weird directions, and like
he was trying to get out ahead of it, and he couldn't do it.
Exactly, and the thing with Stott that I love is just like he can work a pitch count. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it all the time before, like, fouling balls off, whatever, or, just, laying off certain pitches. I mean, surprisingly.
He has leadoff DNA.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Again, he's been in discussion about leading off, which I don't know about that idea. I know we've seen it before and it worked out okay, but
I think we have guys that I'd rather have Schwarber lead off than Stott right now, just because Schwarber has experience with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm excited for Stott this year.
Me too. I saw people hating on him already. I'm just like, dude, I don't get it, man. I mean, I think he's up there with. I don't know if I really like anywhere like top 5, but I'd say at least top 10 second baseman in the league. I would feel like maybe like 10 or 9 or whatever. But which by the way,
anyway.
But by the way, I'm not to bring up like
rankings,
top 100 lists, not to bring up top 100 lists or whatever, but like Bryce Harper at 12. Like not being the top 10 nowadays it's just kind of ridiculous to me. I know we talk about Bryce Harper a lot on this podcast, but I'm just like, dude, like I'm just saying, man. I don't know, just saying. But listen, MVP season possibly loading.
He's like plus 1,600.
Dude, do I have to put in the locks again this year?
Do not.
Do I have to put in the Cy Young locks again this year, dog?
Do not.
I might have to, man.
I'm gonna look at what he is right now. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, look at it right now and let me know, because if it's reasonable, I'll take it.
I'm not even seeing him. What the heck?
I don't FanDuel anymore.
Maybe it would help if I wasn't looking at the American League MVP.
Yeah. We all know who's going to win.
Plus 1,800.
That's not bad. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, man. Listen.
Yeah.
I mean, and they were talking. I saw like a prediction or whatever. They said he's going to hit like 31 home runs. I was like, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that, but I think they have below 30.
I think he's going to play a little bit more small ball this year. I don't know why. I just do.
Yeah. Hopefully
he looks fit. Now, I'm not trying to,
No. I get it. Yeah. Well, he's been on the TikTok influencer thing,
the whole raw milk thing. People are all pissed off about.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
I'm not even gonna get. Bro, I don't even know why. I'm not even gonna get into the whole raw milk thing because people don't know what they're talking about. So I'm not gonna even get into it. But yeah, he's been doing the whole TikTok influencer thing. Good for him.
I just don't like. Yeah, I'm not gonna give them the time.
They all buzz their heads. You notice that?
I did. Well, Nola got a new haircut and stuff like that, or whatever.
Castellanos buzzed his head.
Yeah.
Bryce buzzed his head.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry.
Looking a little weird.
real quick too before we move into our next segment. But
I got you with the raw milk thing, didn't I?
Yeah, well, it's just the whole thing is just annoying. Like I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, I don't care.
Anyway, we're blabbing on here. So the Japanese pitcher that they invited.
Koyo Yogi.
Yes, I was gonna let you say it because
still
struggling to get it or whatever.
I knew you were. I saw the gears turn.
I'm not gonna lie with you. I have a gut feeling that this guy might make the roster, and if he does,
so.
I'm just saying it could be a sneaky weapon for us coming out of the bullpen. Like, and
his bullpen sessions look good.
Not just production wise, but this could be good for the Phillies moving into the future here. You know, having a Japanese player, and we've always had a discussion of opening that door for them for the franchise. So I definitely 100%. Think this is a good thing for them.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said to you, that's not why I would put him on the roster.
No, absolutely.
Like,
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
But it definitely is a help.
For sure.
Like it would definitely help the team no matter what.
Yeah, watching some of his bullpen sessions so far, like him pitching, he seems like he has good mechanics. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, there's probably some things he has to get used to in the major league level, but I just think it definitely, like, I just have a gut feeling, and when I have a gut feeling, it's just like, okay, usually I'm right. Like, I mean, I was right on Sir Anthony Dominguez, and he ended up being good for us for a couple of years, and after he came back from Tommy John, but hey, what do I know? But I'm just going my gut feeling at this point. So, listen. So before we get into our next segment, let me shout out our friends at Philly Goat. As we move into the, as we look ahead to the 2025 season, make sure you are prepared with new Philly sports gear. Go to website phillygoat.com to get new Philly sports merch and use the code BTBPod for 10% off your next order. Beyond the Bank is proud to be an affiliate with Philly Goat. As always, go Phils.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I have so many Philly shirts, but they just keep coming out with designs that
I know.
I'm a big fan.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're great over there. And
you get your Eagles gear too.
Yeah, if you want to go get your Eagles gear, they've coming out with some of that Super Bowl champion stuff.
Yeah, they had a Howie shirt with him and the beer can thing on his head. It said, "I bleed for this city." That was awesome.
Yeah, so make sure you use the code BTBPod. We love them over there. Shout out to Philly Go. So going off of some Philly stuff, is there been anything around the league that's really stood out to you? I know we brought up Alex Bregman signed to the Red Sox. They've been having that whole thing with Devers.
That's some drama, dude.
It is. It's and I love Rafael Devers. But
me too. But I don't know if you know this. Every metric that records fielding, he's been statistically the worst fielding third baseman.
Yeah, he's not great defensively. He's not great defensively at all.
I mean, the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. I think they assumed he'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
When they signed Bregman, but I guess not. All I have to say about Around the League news is I think Anthony Rendon has played his last game as an Angel. Whenever that was last year.
As an Angel? How about an MLB player?
Yes. No, I think he's an Angel. The Blue Jays will sign him.
Oh my God, no! Toronto catching strays. That's a stray, man.
Dude, I don't care.
No, I'm just saying, like that's
sorry organization.
Being involved in Anthony Rendon conversations in 2025, yeah, you're
gonna do it, man.
You're in a rough spot there if that's gonna happen. I mean, for God's sakes, I mean, if that happens and they let Vladimir Guerrero walk, I mean,
well, I think they're just I personally, I like Vladdy. I think he's good.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think he's $450 million good. I don't think he's $500 million good. He's not. He's not.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Maybe for some teams. Some teams.
He's just not. I don't see it. He's not, like, the most marketable guy either. Like, he's got some personality. And maybe, like, because he's stuck in Toronto, nobody really cares. But, like, somebody's like, oh, I can see him as a Yankee. And then somebody was like, oh, it looks beautiful. And then they put a picture of him with no facial hair and no dreads and said, this is what it'll actually look like. And it's just terrible. Did you see the whole thing with Marcus Stroman too?
I did. I think I saw something about it.
Dude, he's a weird guy, man.
I don't know. It's weird over there in Yankee land. I don't know. It's just like
he's a weird guy.
There's a lot going on over there.
I'm surprised it took this long for him to act out. He's a weird guy.
I know. Well,
I don't know.
Hey,
and he acts like he's Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
That's what's confusing to me. Like, dude, your ERA is nothing to write home about. Like, you make like 25, 26 starts a year, which is good, but like,
depending on Paul Goldschmidt to be 2022 Paul Goldschmidt. But hey, that's beyond me. So I don't know. Y'all have fun with that. So I mean, I'm good.
Yeah.
I
think around the league right now, it's like a hot stove, man. It's going nuts. Like, now that everybody's back in camp, I mean, Mike Trout's going to start playing right field instead of center.
Yeah.
And he sounded like Eeyore when he told everybody, like, he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to end up playing some right field to really, preserve my body. Like, okay, bro. I'll see you at Eagles games in October, buddy. Because you won't be in the playoffs.
You sound very happy. Wow.
Yeah. He's just defeated, dude. Like, his body's giving out, and he's giving all he can. But
yeah,
Prime Trout is no more.
Not gonna lie, was really hoping for a Kenley Jansen signing from us, and he made his way to the Angels.
Don't worry.
So, well,
that is what was the quote?
Ron Washington came out with a quote where oh my god, I gotta find it now because you just brought that back up. I know I sent it to you on Twitter, but he said,
dude, that was one of the nuttiest things I've ever heard somebody say.
Here we go. So Bob Nightingale tweeted out, according to Ron Washington, he said, it's the greatest thing that could have happened to us in 2025, referring to signing of all-star closer Kenley Jansen. I mean, I wasn't going to go that far.
That is a sick place to be.
I wasn't going to go that far with Kenley Jansen, but
that's what I mean. It's a sick place to be because we're like, yeah, he kind of bolstered the bullpen maybe a little bit, and he's like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Like, what? I don't know, man. It's rough over there.
That's what I'm saying.
They must have given him a whole lot of money because he's a good coach.
He is.
Doesn't even matter.
Could be an Angels fan. I mean, imagine, or White Sox. So.
Who?
Us. Imagine that. I'm just saying, like, it could be worse.
I was like, whoa.
No, it could be worse. So I mean, good luck to them. I don't know. I'll tell you something right now, man. The conversation talk with our division, NL East, and stuff like that, like predictions or whatnot. Like, we'll obviously get more into that like it's closer to opening day, but I'll tell you, man. I just listen. People are sleeping on us, man. I don't like.
Of course.
It. I know
our over/under win total is 90.5.
Yeah, which I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to get too much in predictions already, but I would give us.
We could save predictions for next week.
We could, but I don't know about reaching 95 again. But I'm just gonna leave it at that. So
yeah,
I'm not trying to.
I have a number in my head already. So
you know what? The other thing is too. Again, last on the Phillies, like going into the season, I don't want to see any more of like the limelight on the team. Like I feel like a lot of that got to their head.
What do you mean?
Just like obviously like being favorites for this, being favorites for that. It's like all right, like I'd rather be like a little bit, behind the curtain.
You want to be underestimated. You want
a little bit. Like I don't mind it. Like
the NL East, like you were just saying, I think it's going to be one of the most competitive divisions in baseball.
Absolutely.
And there's a real potential of 2 out of the 3 wild card teams. Is it 3 wild card teams or 4 wild card teams?
3. I think. Yeah, pretty sure it's 3.
There's a real good chance that 2 out of the 3 wild card teams could be NL East teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing all that Mets stuff. I'm not even gonna talk. Nah,
dude, don't.
I saw the first Juan Soto shuffle today.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that too, dude.
Hey. Can't wait. I will be there for the.
Don't worry, they signed that. They signed back that fat ass. I'm just kidding. You can cut that.
Did that happen?
They signed Pete Alonso back.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna give him too much airtime, but like, I mean, whatever. Making him feel like the next like Barry Bonds. I was like, let's relax now. Like,
they definitely gave him a contract. And they were like, take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going on now. Now we're talking about the Mets.
Yeah,
disgusting.
I'm done.
I'm done. So spring training, we're here. We're ready for it. I know, like you said, you're going. So
I'm hoping that I can get some GoPro footage.
Yes.
And I downloaded a video editor on my computer, so hopefully I can compile something and maybe post something to YouTube. No promises. But
yeah, you gotta cook up over there, man.
I'm trying.
And real quick, as you can see, if you're a visual watcher right now, kind of in a different spot right now shooting, and that's because as we said before on Instagram, that we're kind of building the live studio to be for the summer, because we're planning on shooting some in-person episodes this year. So you see the microphone here. I'm sitting in one of the chairs right now. But we're pretty much at the finish line with all this stuff. So we're pretty excited about it. I can't wait. Obviously we're still gonna do some remote episodes here and there. But when we get the opportunity to shoot some in person, then Henry and I will be together in the studio. Can't wait. I'm excited for it, man. We last couple of weeks of like getting equipment and stuff like that, communicating. It's been fun and it's exciting. Like I keep coming into the studio. I keep sitting here. I'm like, can't wait.
just like I just by yourself. That's like my first car. It was like a '99 Ford Taurus, but it had this crazy speaker system. I do my homework in there before I got my license.
You're just like imagining all the good times.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It's gonna be cool. Just different approach for us and trying out new things. And listen, for anybody out there, I mean, if you have any ideas to pitch out to us that you think we'd want to do, doing a live episodes, that'd be cool. We appreciate it.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah, we hear from you. We got some ideas already, kind of scrapbooked and stuff like that. So we're gonna look at that and see what we can do.
Potential guest.
Special guest. I mean, I won't announce who, but there might be something. Might be a special guest on very soon, in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Stay tuned for that announcement. But yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It's
me too.
Year 2, man. We're here, and
this is the 1-year anniversary.
Oh yeah,
of our first pod.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that. It is the 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
So
our
happy anniversary
pod
to
release.
Yes, first pod release. I mean, to be honest with you, it's only been a year now, and it's like I didn't
have losing to the Mets in the playoffs on my bingo card last year. So
no, I didn't. That we had the excitement in the beginning of the season, and now it's like we go into this year and we're kind of just like even keel now. Like we're comfortable doing this, and we're just like, all right, like let's not get too hyped, because I feel like it got to our heads. Like we started out the podcast, they started out good, we're like, oh, good content, and then it started just like going downhill. We were just stressing. So. Happy anniversary to the pod. Year 1 in the books, and year 2's on its way soon. Well, it's already started, but
can't wait.
I'm excited, man. So, you got anything else?
No.
All right.
Go Phils.
Go Phils. We're out of here. Peace.